The Book of Boba Fett's the newest Star Wars series on Disney Plus, and continues Disney's long track record of destroying original series characters. In the original trilogy, Boba Fett was one of the most badass, intelligent, and intimidating people there were. Only having 4 lines and 6 minutes and 32 seconds of screen time, he still managed to leave a memorable impression. Boba Fett went from a skinny, sleek assassin who managed to stay mysterious by always wearing a helmet and not saying much, to a fat, overweight, mumbling idiot who can't keep his mouth shut and never put his helmet on.
Without my armor, I'm less persuasive.
I want to stay mysterious.
Like a bantha.
I want to stay quiet.
Yes?
I was hoping not to say as much as I have. I speak far too much.
I'm talking too much. This Boba doesn't talk this much. Look, I've got all these paragraphs here. I think we should get rid of it.
Although the show wasn't horrible, it wasn't that good either. What we're going to do is go over each individual episode and highlight some of the good things the show did and some of the bad things the show did.
Pan down from the twin suns of Tatooine, we are now close on the mouth of the Sarlacc pit. After a beat, the gloved Mandalorian armor gauntlet of Boba Fett grabs onto the sand outside the Sarlacc pit, and the feared bounty hunter pulls himself from the maw of the sand beast.
The first episode picks up sometime after Return of the Jedi, as we get to see Boba Fett escape the Sarlacc pit. We then pick up with Boba after the events of Mando, after killing Bib Fortuna and taking over Jabba's palace. Here, Boba's going around collecting tributes from key players on Tatooine in order to establish his rule, when him and Fennec are suddenly ambushed by an unknown team of assassins, giving way to one of the worst choreographed, slowest moving, and unnecessary slow-mo fight scenes I've ever seen. Here we get the start of the reoccurring trend of Boba getting knocked on his ass.
I walk on my own 2 feet.
And having Fennec do everything for him.
Fennec! Alive!
We are then given a long parkour chase scene that is super slow and has unnecessary movement.
What are those?
Here we also begin our long series of flashbacks that explains what happens to Boba after he escaped the Sarlacc pit. Boba is captured and enslaved by Sand People, only gaining his freedom and respect by killing Goro from Mortal Kombat. Episode 2 picks up almost directly after Episode 1, with Boba confronting the mayor trying to figure out who sent the assassins. Here, Boba is confronted by 2 of Jabba's cousins, who threaten to kill him with a Black Wookiee bounty hunter. The rest of the episode is a flashback focusing on Boba and the Sand People as they attempt to take down the Polar Express.
You can ride for free!
In order to do that, Boba steals a bunch of speeder bikes off a group that looks like grasshoppers from Bug's Life. After the unnecessary scene of some weirdo standing up to the bug creatures after being bullied,
You said it's not right.
But y'all don't say that.
we're given a genuinely good fight scene, probably the best in the entire show. The badass fight is completely undermined by the next scene, which feels like a bad sitcom with a goofy montage.
Like a bantha. Stop.
We are then given the genuinely good scenes of the train heist, and although it lacks the stakes and tensions of something like the Breaking Bad train heist, this one is still fun and adventurous. We are then introduced to the Pikes, who really don't look that good and look nothing like their Clone Wars counterpart.
What do you mean by spice?
Pay your debt, or watch your friends die.
In order to thank Boba Fett for all his help, the Sand People drug him with a
Blizzard.
Boba begins to wander and starts to have strange visions of a tree, something straight out of the Simpsons movie.
More than 2 shakes and it's playing with yourself?
All this so Boba can retrieve a branch and build a staff like Morgan from The Walking Dead. Episode 3 begins with Sir Davos, a water salesman, complaining to Boba that a young group of kids keeps taking his supply. Here we're given the worst characters in the entire show, a group of Power Rangers with weird gadgets and colorful bikes that Boba for some reason decides to make part of his crew. This crew is completely unintimidating and useless, doing nothing but getting their ass kicked.
Morphin time! Dragon Sword! Mastodon! Pterodactyl! Triceratops! Saber-tooth tiger! Tyrannosaurus!
We are then given a really embarrassing scene for Boba Fett as he's attacked by the Black Wookiee, getting thrown about the room naked and wet, looking like a fat baby. Once again, Fennec saves the day, capturing the Wookiee, with Boba Fett walking in like a bumbling idiot after the fact.
What did I miss? What did I miss?
After the failed attack, Jabba's cousins return, apologizing to Boba, agreeing to give him a Rancor and the Wookiee's life in return. Boba sets the Wookiee free and spends the next couple of minutes playing with his Rancor.
I want to learn to ride this one.
Like a bantha.
What? I want to ride it.
Yes.
Is this the spot?
Yes.
The episode ends with the slowest vehicle chase I've ever seen in my life, with the Power Rangers chasing the mayor's assistant on their Megazords. Episode 4 is another entire flashback episode that focuses on girl boss Fennec Shand. At this point, we're given more flashbacks and time spent present day with the current story. The episode begins with Boba Fett finding the body of Fennec Shand.
BC! Wake up! Wake up!
Boba then brings Fennec to a robotic augmentation doctor with a weird steampunk aesthetic that fits nothing in the world of Star Wars, with the weird techno music that plays in the background the entire time. After waking up, Boba explains to Fennec everything that's going on, and Fennec says what we're all thinking out loud.
Living with the Tuskens has made you soft.
Boba then makes Fennec an offer in return for her life.
Help me recover my fire spray gunship.
You do not know what you are talking about.
But you don't even know what you're talking about.
Disney in this episode decided to change the name of Boba's gunship, going from the badass Slave 1, the stupid
fire spray gunship.
Fennec agrees to help and basically does all the work, by sending in her own personal droid and cutting open the gates herself. Boba Fett is once again forced to catch up like a bumbling idiot. We finally get to see the badass bounty hunter Boba Fett, who fought against Luke Skywalker, finally get to fight against kitchen droids. Oh wait, no, he doesn't even do that. Fennec does that. We're then given a comical chase scene of Boba Fett bumbling and stumbling all over the kitchen, knocking everything over, trying to catch a rat droid.
You know who I am? I am Boba Fett.
After leaving the kitchen and finding the ship, Boba is once again left completely useless as Fennec is forced to do everything.
Hell are you doing?
We need to get the gate open, but I can't see a thing. Guns are jammed. I can't get a shot.
I've got it. Close the ramp.
We are then given an awesome scene of the OG Boba Fett as he mercilessly guns down the group of speed bikers who killed his Tusken tribe. But once again, the badass scene is completely undermined by the scene that precedes it. And probably the dumbest scene in the entire show, Boba decides to go look for his armor in the Sarlacc pit by taking his gunship and going halfway down the Sarlacc's mouth. Like anyone with half a brain would have guessed, the Sarlacc grabs the ship, nearly destroying the ship and killing them both. Once again, it's up to Fennec to save the day.
Next time, don't touch my buttons.
Cutting back to the current day storyline, Boba tries to seek out the Wookiee who try to kill him and offer him a job. The episode ends with Boba having a meeting with the Crime Lords of Tatooine in order to establish a stupid alliance that makes no sense. The deal is no one will attack Boba as he attempts to deal with the Pikes. This deal is stupid in many ways because there's no way of guaranteeing this, and the only reason these people seem to agree to it is for some reason they're scared of the Rancor that is locked up beneath them.
Is this the spot?
Season 3, Episode 1 of The Mandalorian, Season 1, Episode 5 of Boba Fett has nothing to do with the actual show. It focuses on the main character of The Mandalorian, having almost nothing to do with Boba Fett in terms of story and relevancy. The episode begins with The Mandalorian collecting a bounty on a dog-slash-human hybrid, looking like one of those paintings with the dogs playing poker.
Ow! Ouch!
Here we get to see Mando doing what we wish Boba was doing this entire series, ruthlessly mowing people down. We also get the return of the Darksaber, which we see Mando obviously doesn't know how to use yet, as he ends up cutting his own leg. We then meet our first of many recurring characters from Mando in this episode. We're given the female Mandalorian armorer, whose one job is to dump a bunch of exposition
Their existence puts Mandalorian
on everything from the history of Mandalore
When Atlas dropped the bomb,
to the history of the Darksaber. All vital things for Mando's story, and anyone who watches The Mandalorian and does not watch this episode of Boba Fett will have no idea what's going on in The Mandalorian show. Now that Mando has the Darksaber, he no longer needs his Bespin spear and has it smelted down to make armor for Baby Yoda. Mando is then given some training with the Darksaber and is challenged to a duel.
I challenge you to a duel.
After winning the fight, Mando is questioned on his loyalty to the Mandalorian ways.
Have you ever removed your helmet?
How about new?
Mando admits he's taken off his mask before and is expelled from the Mandalorian Order.
Then you are a Mandalorian no more.
You're fired.
Not that! Anything but that!
Again, a very important plot point for the Mandalorian story and something that should have happened on his own show. Since Mando no longer has a ship, he's forced to take a commercial flight.
Please stop bothering my kid.
Giving us a scene of him going through space TSA.
Shoes off, belts off. Sharp objects go in the plastic tray.
Hello, boys! I'm back!
We then get the return of one of my least favorite characters in this entire universe. When Space Randy Quaid is not busy making a bad joke.
Dated a jowl for a while. Quite furry. Very furry.
She's busy rambling on about space technobabble.
You want strangling your thrust capacitors. Fabricated you this induction intake chart of vapor manifold.
She then reveals a half-built speeder which the two of them agree to build together, giving us a long montage scene of them building the speeder.
Closer to me. Go up to the left. Right on center. Slide it. There you go.
The two finally complete the speeder and Mando takes it for a test run.
Now this is pod racing.
Mando's test run quickly comes to an end after he's pulled over by space police.
License and registration, please.
What seems to be the officer problem?
Mando's able to quickly escape, showing off the speed of his new ship, and he returns back to Mos Eisley. Here we're given our first reference to the Book of Boba Fett, you know, the show we're supposed to be watching right now. And of course, it's not Boba, but
Fennec Shand.
Fennec appears in more episodes than Boba does in his own show. Fennec asks Din Djarin if he can help provide muscle in Boba's fight against the Pikes. Din Djarin agrees to help, but first he must
pay a visit to a little friend. Well, this shouldn't take long.
The Mandalorian Season 3, Episode 2. I mean, The Book of Boba Fett Season 1, Episode 6 is yet again another episode almost solely focusing on the Mandalorian. The first season, The Book of Boba Fett was said to be short, only having 7 episodes. But now after this, it really only has 5 episodes, having 2 completely hijacked by the Mandalorian. At the end of the last episode, we were told that the Mandalorian was going to go visit Baby Yoda. I figured this would happen either off-screen or in his own show. But no, we pick up immediately right after. We're then introduced to the first of many reoccurring legacy characters.
I clapped when I saw it!
We're given the really cool cameo of R2-D2, who's here to guide Mando to the Jedi Temple.
Power level critical. Major systems offline.
R2-D2 then randomly shuts down, leaving Mando confused and stranded.
I'm big!
We then get the return of Baby Yoda in all his cuteness. We're given the return of CGI Mark Hamill.
I clapped when I saw it!
Given the Luke Skywalker we all know and love being an absolute badass and not some bitter old man. This episode is filled with callbacks and memories, giving us scenes of Luke training Grogu that exactly mirror the way Luke was trained by Yoda and Obi-Wan.
Remember TIE fighters? Oh, remember Jawas? Remember? Taka? Yeah. And remember Adex? Remember Star Destroyers? Yeah, I love Star Destroyers. Remember Tatooine? Remember the torture droid? Remember Mos Eisley? Remember the Rancor? Remember Sand People?
We get to see the full extent of Luke's powers as it unlocks traumatic memories of Baby Yoda.
Would you like to remember?
We are then given a really cinematic scene of Grogu in the Jedi Temple as Order 66 is going down. We then cut back to the main character of the show, Boba, the Mandalorian.
I clapped when I saw it!
Who runs into her third special guest. After bringing Mando to a place where he can see Grogu in the distance, she tries to convince him not to interfere with his Jedi training. After reluctantly agreeing, he gives her the armor to give to Baby Yoda. We are then given a really cool scene of Luke and Ahsoka, 2 characters I never thought we'd see together. Here we get to see the relationship between the two, as Luke confesses to Ahsoka that he's worried that Grogu is not dedicated to becoming a Jedi. And if this turns anything like the sequel movies, we know how that ends up.
Sometimes I wonder if his heart is in it.
It sensed it building in him. I'd seen it in moments during his training.
Mando arrives at Jabba's palace, finally reconnecting us to the Book of Boba Fett storyline, but here he's not even here to see Boba, he's here to see
Fennec Shand.
We are then given a massive debrief by Fennec, who seems to be in charge of this entire situation.
And let the Pikes move on our territory. We lack the numbers to cover our territory.
If you look really hard, there are a couple times where Boba Fett actually cameos in the background.
We need foot soldiers.
I might be able to help with that.
Is the Mandalorian Din Djarin. We now have enough experienced muscle.
And this scene officially solidifies that Boba Fett is a background character in his own show.
Permission to speak, sir?
I think not.
We then get the return of the guy who stole Boba Fett's armor, who revealed himself to be Mickey from Scream.
Surprise, Sydney.
We're also introduced to his stupid loudmouth deputy.
Special Officer Doofy reporting.
Mando tries to convince Cop Sal that him and his people should join their fight against the Pikes, using the same argument Obi-Wan used against Boss Nass.
Town might be good for now, but it's all part of the same planet.
You and the Naboo form a symbiont circle. What happens to one of you will affect the other. You must understand this.
Corn on the Cob rejects Mando's offer, and Mando returns back to Jabba's palace. Mando takes off, and we're introduced to our last special guest.
Now who's doing that? That be the mystery guest waiting in the wings?
Surprise cameo just for you.
Didn't see it coming, did you?
I clapped when I saw it.
We are given my favorite Clone Wars character, Cad Bane, who we get to see for the first time in real life.
Boba Fett is a cold-blooded killer who worked for the Empire.
For an adaptation of a cartoon character in real life, he looks really good. Although some people had some complaints, overall the prosthetics are great. Cad Bane warns Cobb Schwab not to get involved with the Pikes, and the two have an old-fashioned Western standoff. Cad Bane shoots Cobb Vanth and completely unloads into his deputy. We then cut to the Sanctuary Casino, where we see the Pikes quickly come in and out, leaving a package behind.
Wait! You forgot your Captuna!
Don't assume it was left by accident. If you see something, say something.
The episode ends with Luke giving Grogu the choice to choose between Yoda's lightsaber and the Mandalorian armor. We don't get to see what he chooses, as it leaves us on a cliffhanger, cutting off at the last moment. The Book of Boba Fett Episode 7 is the last episode in the first season, finally cutting back to our main character, Boba. We pick up right where we left off with Boba, with him being bitched out and told what to do by everybody else.
If you want to abandon Mos Espa and hide in your fortress, go ahead. We're staying.
We'll stay.
Fennec once again gets a really long debriefing scene where she gets to explain the plan that makes absolutely no sense.
Fan from Freetown.
Quietly
We will see
the
them
streets
before they see
quietly
us.
patrolling.
Gain the upper hand by surprising the arriving soldiers.
The plan is to have each one of Boba's crew hidden and spread out in different locations, but each location is given up by having these bright-ass speed bikes ride right past them. Boba is then confronted by Cad Bane, who informs him that the Pikes are the ones that killed his Tusken tribe. The information seemingly has no effect on Boba, and Cad Bane calls out Boba for what he is.
You're going soft in your old age.
Fact check true. Fact check true.
The two are about to duel before Fennec comes in and convinces Boba not to.
No, don't do it! No, don't do it!
Boba agrees to wait. For some reason, Cad Bane's okay with this and just walks away.
I'll be back.
We then watch as Fennec's plan goes completely south, as each one of our crew members are trapped and pinned down.
It's a trap!
Stop it! Push it! Pull it! Do it!
Fortunately, the Power Rangers are saved by Fennec Shand, who comes in with a horrible one-liner.
Thank you.
Manners. I like it. You're welcome.
We are then given the awesome scene of Boba Fett and the Mandalorian fighting back-to-back as they mow down endless Pikes. The Mandalorian is finally properly used in this series as a support character to the main character. The two eventually find themselves pinned down.
We're completely surrounded! We're completely fucked!
The duo is then saved by the people of Freetown and each member of Boba's crew.
The cavalry has arrived! I am Folding Sword! Dragon Folding Sword! Bear Folding Sword!
Holy shit, it's a Bigfoot!
To introduce you to the future of law enforcement. Ed 209.
After clearing the area out of Pikes, they send in two massive droids that look like something out of Metal Gear Solid. Both droids have an impenetrable force field that's hard to breach, giving us 20 minutes of our crew running around all over the place, pointlessly shooting at it.
I can't get through.
The day is saved, however, when Boba comes riding in on his Rancor.
Run! It's Godzilla!
The Rancor fights and destroys the droids, looking like a kaiju battle or something at a Pacific Rim. We then cut to the Jawa lover who runs into Baby Yoda. We see that Baby Yoda has chosen the Mandalorian armor and was sent here by Luke Skywalker all by himself in a cockpit. In an attempt to reignite the two, Pelimoto rolls right into the ongoing battle, adding unnecessary and out-of-place comic relief.
Turn around!
What? Look who's here!
Oh, okay, little guy.
Although it's great to see the reunion of Mando and Baby Yoda, I feel like this should have happened again in his own show, and not in this circumstance. Doing this on a high-speed chase is really out of place.
That's my go-to. My go-to. I'll kill him. I'll kill him.
We then get the return of Cad Bane, who manages to take out the Rancor, who just previously ate a bunch of gunshots and stab wounds, is scared off by a little bit of fire. Boba Fett and Cad Bane finally have a standoff, getting ready for a rematch.
I'm not a little boy any longer. And you are an old man.
Back when the Clone Wars was still on air, Season 7 was originally set to premiere, featuring a deleted scene of Boba Fett and Cad Bane dueling off, where both get shot in the head, giving Boba Fett a dent in his helmet and Cad Bane a metal plate in his head. Cad Bane's able to get the upper hand on Boba Fett by shooting him down twice, and instead of finishing him off, he decides to stupidly taunt him.
Why don't you just kill him?
No, Scott, I have an even better idea. I'm going to place him in a situation involving an overly elaborate and exotic death.
Why don't you just shoot him now? I mean, I'll go get a gun.
After removing Boba's helmet, Boba's able to get the upper hand by using his Tusken staff, and quickly killing Cad Bane with the ugliest face I've ever seen in my life. After being around in the Star Wars universe for years, and being in this show for 2 seconds, Cad Bane is killed off like it's nothing. We then cut back to the Rancor, who is now unleashed on the city, looking like King Kong climbing buildings and destroying structures. Back in Return of the Jedi, Luke ended up killing the Rancor by smashing its neck with the door, but all he really had to do was just calm it down with the Force like Baby Yoda does.
Is this the spot?
This storyline finally comes to an end with the main Pike and all the other mob leaders that helped him getting assassinated by Fennec Shand. Fennec pretty much goes against everything Boba's been saying this entire series of trying to rule with respect instead of fear. The ending reminds me of Lord of the Rings, as we have Boba Fett walking around his new home of Tatooine with the biggest smile I've ever seen in my life, with whimsical music playing in the background. We get an extremely unfunny one-liner and a final look at Boba's entire crew. A Wookiee, Power Rangers, and a rat droid. And of course, the also-powerful Fennec Shand. The episode and the season finally come to an end as we see Baby Yoda and Mando ride off into the sunset.
Must go faster.
All right. But this is the last time.
Oh, I almost forgot about this useless end credit scene. That was my overall review of the Book of Boba Fett Season 1. Overall, the first season was a mixed bag, with most of the good moments having nothing to do with Boba Fett. We are given way too many flashbacks and not enough time to expand on the current day storyline. That's going to be the end of the video. I hope you enjoyed. Thank you for watching, and stay tuned for future movie and TV show reviews.